Shalom, welcome to Rabbi Ron in the house. Hey, here I am with my computer today, found an article the other day on Yahoo News entitled The Rise of Atheism. Talking about here in America, one of the first things it does is ask the question, how many atheists are there? How many? Are there a few? Are there a lot? What? What's the story? It says, of course, it all depends upon your definition. That's the way it is with everything. It all depends how you define it. It says, well, listen, only actually between 1.5% and 4% of Americans admit to being so-called hard atheists, and that there is absolutely no higher power that are convicted of that. But they say, though, there is a growing number of people that are skeptical about God, faith in God. Is there really God? Skeptical, questioning, I don't know, what do you think? And it says that actually now they think that 19% of American, they say at least people in America spurn organized religion. Now that's probably absolutely true. Folks, why? Most temples and churches are boring. No interested in going to it. But here it also gives another reason besides being boring. This article says there's a group here that they're calling the Knowns. And guess who the leader of American atheists is who talks about these Knowns? A man by the name of David Silverman. Sounds like a Jew. You can be Jewish and be an atheist, but don't dare be a Jew who believes Messiah has come. Hey, but whoa, that's a whole other story. Let's not go down that road today. What does he say? He says that a big percentage, 2/3 of these people that call themselves Knowns, they're former Christians. They're people that grew up in Christianity. And the reason now they're skeptical, he's finding, this article talks about, is they don't like the Bible's teaching on homosexuality, premarital sex, contraception, and abortion. And scandals also play a big part within Christianity. And hey, guess what? All the topics and the scandals, for the most part, as far as I can recall, thinking back in time, they all involve topics of sexuality. What's going on, according to this article, is people do not like the Bible's teaching about sexuality and therefore are saying second thoughts about God. I'll have to revisit this and think about this some more. I'm not going to just accept faith in God because I don't like the Bible's teachings about sexuality. Folks, here's a question for us. What do we do about this? We can't deny the truth. It's here in the Word of God. So what do we do? Do we just ignore it, let him run away, and let the Spirit convict him? Is there something, though, about the approach? Is it just pray for the Spirit of God to convict of sin, righteousness, and judgment? Or is it that the approach, it's not the conveying of truth, but it's the way, the attitude of believers in which they present the Scriptures that is actually turning off people? It's a possibility. I want to hear from you. Listen, get yourself over to the comment section. Tell me what you think about this. Is it definitely just the hardcore truth of the Scriptures that are turning off people? Or is it the presentation? Is it the attitude of believers in Messiah and how we share the truth that's turning off people? Or do you have your other thoughts on why there is a growing number of people here in America that are skeptical about faith in God? And listen, I'll also jot a little note there. I'll give you the link so you can read this article for yourself. But folks, we can't just ignore this. If a growing number of people are rejecting faith in God, we're called to be a light, salt of the earth, God's ambassador. That means we have something to do about this. We can't ignore it. We need to address it and allow God to use us to change things here in our country. So what do you think about all this? Jot me a note. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me. This is Rabbi Ron in the house.